Welcome everyone to SEO equals traffic equals profit. This webinar is hosted by Tailwind. My name is Susan Moeller. I'm the Director of Marketing at Tailwind. And today we have Vlad Phelan, who is the content marketer at Tailwind, our resident SEO expert, who is going to be presenting about SEO essentials for small business. When I have an SEO question, Vlad is the person that I go to. And Kevin Lorenz is also here. Kevin is our Tailwind Ads expert, and he's going to be speaking a little bit at the end about how you can add advertising into your multi-channel marketing strategy. So that's who we have speaking today. And a couple of quick reminders. If you have questions during the session, please do drop them directly into chat. We'll answer as many of them as we can as we go along. We also have a dedicated Q&A time at the end of the webinar. So if we don't get to your questions before the end of the session, we do have a chunk of time at the end dedicated to questions. So drop them in, we'll get those answers for you. Welcome everyone, and Vlad, please take it away.
So yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, Susan. Hello, everyone. My name is Vlad. I'll be kind of leading you through this presentation to kind of set the expectations right. The goal of this presentation is to really focus on the main aspects of SEO. Like if you know Backlinko, which is like a famous SEO site, it says that there are like 200 signals that you can use for SEO purposes. We will not be focusing on all 200 of those. We will focus on like 3 main ones, but the ones that can really move the needle and that can really make the difference on your business. Maybe before we get started, to kind of just get a little bit of a room temperature. Susan, could you pull out one of the poll questions? I will be kind of interested to see how many people were actively engaged in SEO in, let's say, past year. Now you should have, okay, it's like 50-50, still 50-50. Okay, I can see that like over slight majority already engaged in SEO. Maybe you are engaging in SEO and you haven't even know about it, right? You are already doing everything right. And I actually seen it a couple of times before during my career, that some of the blogs that are kind of written from the heart based on the experience will outperform the ones that are like dedicating huge resources to SEO. So we'll speak about it as well. So 55% haven't been investing a lot of resources in SEO, and 45% of you did. Well, that's interesting. And Susan, if you could pull the second question, which might be even kind of more giving than the first one, and that would be related to if you were kind of impacted by a recent Google updates in the last 6 months, because particularly last 6 were kind of quite active with the all AI things being released to the market. There are a lot of things going on, and Google is making more changes than ever did. Okay, majority haven't been impacted. That's great. That's good to hear. For those of you who were impacted, happens to everyone. You cannot escape it. Particularly if you have a bigger portfolio of digital assets, you will just fall victim to it sometimes. And there are not many things that you can do about it, but in this presentation, we'll hopefully cover a couple that kind of may turn the favors around. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is just an overall idea of what a lot of you should be doing in this year or next year. Maybe a lot of you are already doing it. 5 years ago, 7 years ago, and I'm in digital marketing roughly since 2007, it was enough to focus just on one channel, right? You did email marketing, or you did Google optimization, or you did social media marketing and Facebook pages, and it was enough. But nowadays, it's getting more and more difficult to have just one channel, because it became very unstable, and relying just on one traffic channel is more and more risky. So definitely a good idea to diversify. In this webinar, we'll be discussing particularly the SEO aspects on page, off page, and content. And in those, we will be discussing 2 main pillars that will kind of lead you to SEO success, because in my opinion and in my experience, they matter where they matters the most, and other things are mostly just sounds that you can ignore. So this, to kind of start, it was a little bit of a joke, but it's so funny that it's not even funny. Around 2018, Google released EAT and your money, your life type of regulations, which kind of dictate that in order to write about particular content, you have to be an expert in the field, and everybody changed their websites, add bios, add authors, reviewers, editors, and everything. And just roughly 6 years later, we essentially see Reddit and Quora and some anonymous posters being ranked at the top for medical terms, business terms, and health insurance terms, you name it. And you've probably seen it in your results recently as well. The whole SEO parasite thing went full circle. You had Quora parasite SEO, Reddit parasite SEO. You could do parasite SEO on LinkedIn as well. In case you haven't heard the term before, parasite SEO essentially is leveraging the authority of another page by publishing your content on it, right? So for instance, LinkedIn has extremely high domain rank. So on LinkedIn polls or on LinkedIn pages, you could publish an affiliate post and suddenly you would be ranked at the top. Obviously, both Reddit, LinkedIn, Quora are trying to limit that, but Reddit, I would say, is still flourishing. The thing is that in the last couple of years, Google is becoming less and less stable or predictable, as to say. It was never very easy, like maybe like 15 years ago, when you could just, scram a lot of keywords on your main page and get ranked just because they are on the page. Obviously, progressively, it got more and more difficult to rank. The competition is higher and higher, particularly when you have sites like Forbes or Inc.com suddenly reviewing washing machines and coffee beans and whatnot, because the affiliate income that can be generated from that makes sense. But particularly in the last couple of years, I would say that they are incomparable to all the updates that were there before. On average, at least from the data that Google released a couple of years back, Google is making around 6 small updates per day to its search algorithm. And usually it makes 1, but now maybe even 2 core updates per month. And those small changes are usually tweaks that we as users or SEO specialists do not really see, but those core updates that are happening more and more recently are really changing the whole landscape. And particularly with the coming up of AI and engines like Perplexity. If you haven't used it, check it out. It's very interesting, very fast, and it makes your search quite easy. Google definitely has to kind of rethink their whole work structure. But unfortunately, in many cases, it has a lot of negative impacts on the sites that are genuinely well made, that have an authoritative writer behind it, that have original content that was never seen before, and suddenly they are completely de-indexed and their content becomes a part of AI. Not all of the sites kind of has to suffer through that fate. There are a lot of niche sites and a lot of businesses thriving in this environment and still are doing very well. But the main idea is that now it's more and more urgent to diversify your the traffic channels. And in SEO, there are still kind of 2 main pillars that you should be focusing on. So for those of you who did not try SEO before, SEO essentially stands for search engine optimization. And it's a way how to help Google, because Google still holds 90+% of search traffic, while Bing and others are kind of still there, and they can be very valuable channels in some cases. Google is a complete monopoly when it comes to search. Search engine optimization is the way how you make it easier for Google to read your site, to have all the green flags, to check all the boxes, and you're essentially trying to help the algorithm to rank you higher, definitely higher than your competitors who, for instance, may be making some mistakes in their content. They have sloppy on-page presentations. They have some technical limitations that is preventing them to rank higher and higher. So Google controls most of the traffic, but it's becoming a little bit unpredictable, and it's more and more risky to kind of rely just on that. And particularly in the last quarter of 2023, and I believe that many of you have seen it, suddenly UGC content, and by UGC I mean pages like Reddit and Quora, I ranked at the top, right? And now they kind of roll back a little bit, but just a couple of months ago, you could see Reddit from 7 years ago with comments as old as 10 years ago, ranking for very competitive terms like, best alloy wheels or health insurance and stuff like that. And this UGC part in age, when with AI you can generate thousands of posts per day, and a lot of sites are doing it, is something that Google has to rely on more because it's more of an original content. But there are two things in SEO that are essentially the same through all out the history of all the search engines that are there. And yeah, this is like the SEO meaning. So essentially just kind of rolling back to this. The whole process of SEO, it's not to try to kind of obfuscate the content, it's not to try to lie or play the system. It's essentially just trying to do your best to comply with all the Google requirements and increase your chances of ranking higher, quicker, and most importantly, staying at the top. Because 70% of all the clicks end at the top 3 results. Yeah. Also, there is another thing that has to be kept in mind, that more and more of the search queries are ending in 0-click search queries, which means that the user is able to get the answer right at the Google page, right? If they ask what is a potato, there will be answer right there. They do not need to click anywhere. And the amount of the search queries increases, the competition for those top 3 positions is higher and higher. And I don't remember the number exactly, but as a whole, Google indexes only a fraction of an internet and all the pages. So even if SEO is not a guarantee to rankings, like SEO is an alchemy to an extent. If somebody would tell you that they will guarantee you a position on like top 2 in 6 months, they're lying. It's not possible. Nobody can guarantee that. But you can definitely increase your chances. You can definitely do all your best, to rank higher. And this is what SEO is about. So with all the changes, with all those core updates, small updates, several core updates running at the same time, is SEO really changing? Well, many people will tell you that it is, particularly when, as I mentioned, some of the AI tools are able to generate you thousands and thousands of long form content with images, with headlines, with everything. But is it really changing that much? Well, in reality, I don't think that it is, because the more AI content there is, the more Google has to rely on the technologies that it used since its inception. And essentially, all the other search engines are using pretty same approach. And that particular approach is PageRank. Google does not advertise it that much nowadays, but this is what they were ranking the pages back in the day, as to say, and what they are ranking the pages based on now. It's got increasingly complex, but it pretty much remains the same. And that translates into essentially 2 parts of SEO: on-page SEO and off-page SEO. Off-page SEO, what it is and what's in it. Throughout the presentation, in the previous slide, I was using some visualizations from SEMrush. Definitely a great resource. Check it out. They have a fantastic blog with a lot of great content. But mostly I will be referring to Ahrefs, which is an SEO kind of keyword and backlink research tool. And they have also a fantastic blog if you would really want to learn and dig deeper into it. They have a Ahrefs blogging for Business Academy. It's free. It's a 4-hour course. Definitely a good one. So, but here we'll be talking about packing everything in 20 minutes, so you will know what to look for. And one of the things that you should be looking for is the off-page SEO part. And if you would Google for it right now, you will have a lot of 5,000 words content pieces that would tell you that off-page SEO is brand mentions on Twitter, it's social signal on Facebook, its amount of engagement that you get on your LinkedIn post, it's reviews and stuff like that. That's all great, but to be honest, it doesn't really move the needle that much. Do social signals help you rank? Maybe a little bit. It's definitely nothing bad. And if there is a chance to have your content liked and shared and stuff like that, why not? But is it something that you should be really dividing resource or like putting resources and attention into it? Not really. There is, in terms of all-page SEO, there's only one thing that will really move the needle, and that's backlinks. Just a quick, since it's related, social signals are essentially, and I see the question in the chat, are essentially all, for example, if you share a post on Facebook and this post will be reshared, liked, commented on, it's sad that Google is able to pick up on those signals, right? It's definitely able to pick up on the incoming traffic because in Google Analytics, it can see how much of engagement are you getting from like Facebook, Twitter, and other channels. But social signals essentially is a term for all the green flags coming from various social media where your content, your brand, your product is being discussed. But kind of getting back to the main idea, they do not really move the needle that much, right? And you have only limited amount of time, limited amount of financial resources or human resource that you can dedicate to a particular line of work. And on off-page SEO, it's backlinks, right? There will be a specialist that will be telling you that Google is so smart, it can recognize when you are doing backlinks. If you have great content, it will rank. I do not believe that is true, right? There are several studies, and some of them is from the page design. We can share it somewhere later or in our newsletter, where essentially it's proven time and time again that if pages like Forbes, Cosmopolitan, Elle will suddenly publish something, or they will create a new digital asset and they will link to it and they will pull it into it kind of in-house backlinking scheme, it will suddenly rank. It will just be at the top. Why? Because backlinks are one of the main signals that are showing to Google that this page can be trusted, right? In case you haven't met the term backlinks before, in the right lower corner, you can see what backlinks are, right? It's those anchors, those shiny things that you can see in the post, and suddenly there is a referral to something. There are several types of backlinks, and we will briefly touch base on those. But essentially, as this image from Ahrefs is showing you, whenever there is a chance to get a backlink from a high authority site that will be related to your content, to your brand, and that would be not marked as no follow, you should go for it. Right? You should definitely go for it. The other type of markings that you do not really want is sponsored. But in my experience, nobody is actually marking the links as sponsored or non-sponsored, but a lot of sites are marking them as no follow. No follow means that this link will not get the SEO authority from my site, right? If I have a high authority site, I have a post, I link to a site, and I put a no follow tag in there, for purpose of the Google crawler, which will come on my site, it will show him, sure, I'm linking to this site, but I do not really believe their content, or I do not really believe that site. So, I'm just linking to it because I think it's relevant. But in case there is no follow link, Google crawler will look at it and will go, okay, so this high authority site actually thinks that this resource is valuable enough to be linked to be trusted. And this is what you want to get ultimately. So moving to the next slide. Yeah. So the whole idea behind the backlinking, if you haven't done backlinking before, is that you are trying to get a piece of the high authority of the domain on your own domain, right? If you would, for example, have like BBC, CNN, New York Times are definitely a little bit challenging to get linked from. You can get some sponsored packages and you can get PR backlinks, and we will discuss them in a bit. But you have more chances of, for example, getting a backlink from the site that already has authority from the sites like BBC, CNN, and New York Times. For instance, you can be mentioned on TechCrunch. It's definitely easier than being mentioned on CNN, but you would receive a little bit of their SEO authority, even though TechCrunch, I believe, have most of their links marked as no follow. For instance, Forbes, right? Everybody is like, okay, we got a link from Forbes. Forbes is DR is domain ranking 90. That's all great, but Forbes has all of their links marked as no follow. So you are not really getting that SEO angle. So you're getting some signal from it. Google sees, and it also crawls the no follow links, but you are definitely not getting all the advantages. But the main idea behind the backlink is that in your niche that you are working in, be it product, be it SaaS, be it makeup, fashion, skincare, e-commerce, whatever. You choose a group of sites that are related to your product in some particular way, right? And you would want to get a backlink from those sites. If you're selling books, a backlink from sites that sell sausages will not really help you that much. Google is smart enough to recognize that. So this link needs to be contextual, and it needs to be from the sites that's related to your business, to your industry, to your niche in one way or another. But how to get those links, right? Again, this is where you will get a mountain of information. There will be, if you Google it now, like I bet top 3 results will be 50 ways how to get high authority backlinks to your site and things like that. That's all great, but essentially only 2 of them really work, right? The ones that do not work and that you will see again and again are getting backlinks from 404s. Essentially, you would write a website owner, hi, I seen that this link of yours is broken. I have a similar resource. Would you link to me, right? And everybody is thinking like, oh, I did something good for them, and they will link to me. Will not happen, and your success rate will be like 0.1 out of the 100 emails sent. So there's no reason to spend time with that. Directories, linking in comments, trying to link from reviews and stuff like that. Again, it's not really something that you can do systematically, that you can track, that you can invest resources, and where you can have a particular like return on investment, right? I invest X amount of time and X amount of money, and I get an X amount of backlinks. And there are only 2 ways how you can achieve those: guest postings and PR link building. Quickly about guest posts. Essentially, let's imagine that you are a business that does, you are selling skincare products, for example. You would find a bunch of sites that write about skincare, various blogs, review sites. If your skincare is related to a particular audience group, parents, mothers, children, whatever, you will find a bunch of sites around that. And you can find those sites through using Ahrefs or SEMrush. You will get the sites which have domain ranking 50 and higher, because anything under DR 50 doesn't really concern you. It doesn't really move the needle that much. DR 70 plus is ideal, but if you are starting out and you really need to get some early results, DR 50 is kind of where you want to start. And you would get those emails, right? And you can either use a tool to get all the emails of the webmasters and owners, or you can hire a VA for like $5, $10 an hour to get those emails. And then you would email them again, either manually or using some kind of automation tool, which I would advise because you need to follow up and monitor it and stuff like that. And you would essentially say, hey, do I accept guest posts? We already written for, and you would put a nice looking websites for which you've written before, or you would just link to a piece of content that you're particularly proud of. We would like to do some keyword research and write a valuable piece for you. Yes, no, right? And do not really stress it, because either they accept guest posts or they do not accept guest posts. There's nothing in between. And you are not really interested in those who do not accept them. So, it's pretty straightforward. Out of the 100 emails sent, your final success rate to positive reply, a keyword pitch, a post pitch, and an actual publish would be somewhere between 3 to 10%, depending on your niche, how competitive it is. For instance, software is extremely competitive, digital marketing is extremely competitive, and everybody knows the value of the backlink. But if you are in, let's say, gardening field, a lot of blogs are written just because people would like to write about gardening. They like the field. They do not necessarily know that the DR80 backlink on a on this niche and this term can be priced as high as $900 or whatever. So they would gladly give you the space to do it. So this is how you do essentially guest posting in a very quick overview. And this is a strategy that you can apply months on months. You can track it, you can improve it, you can improve your pitch, you can dedicate resources, and you will get backlinks constantly. Because another thing that's kind of good to have with Google, and again, that's more related to the he said, she said type of knowledge, but worked in the past, is a backlink velocity. You cannot get 50 backlinks in month number 1 and just stop on months number 2 and 3. Google might see it as a kind of ungenuine or manipulative backlink acquisition, and it can damage your site. Start slow, start ramping it up, 5 links, 10 links, 15 links, 20 links, and then just keep it going on the same level. This is how you grow your domain authority. After that, when your domain authority is high, everything that will be published on your site will get indexed quicker and will have a much higher chance to rank, right? The last note to backlinks, just a side note, backlinks could be a presentation in itself. That could be like a separate 1 hour long webinar just on backlinks, maybe even like 2 or 3 hour webinar. The purpose of this is to really just point you in the right direction, tell you what's working and what you can test. And from now on, whenever you will be doing more research on backlinks, just look for backlinks, guest posting, how to do it. And this is where you start. Ignore everything else. Obviously, there's a question, should you buy backlinks? Should you not buy backlinks? Is it good? Is it bad? Backlink buying and selling is a whole business in itself. My advice would be, if you go pitching guest posts on a site and they come back to you and they say, sure, but we need $200, don't do it. That means that the part of their business model is selling backlinks. That means that they will have a lot of outgoing links. And the more outgoing links the site has, the less is your SEO benefit if you will get a link from them. Yeah. So if you have a DR80 site, which has 20,000 outgoing backlinks, and DR60 site, which has 100 outgoing backlinks, I would go with a DR60 with 100 outgoing backlinks. Yeah. So in your ideal case, you would be focusing on the blogs of websites which are selling a product, because in their case, they are genuinely looking for good content. They want to plug gaps in their content if you would compare it to their competitors. And on Ahrefs, you can do competitor content gap analysis and you can pitch them better with better keywords. So go after those sites. One exception is if you would be kind of hiring a person or like a small team to do this type of guest posting for you, and you would be paying them based on like per backlink basis, right? Okay, in this case, fine. If you're paying for backlink building, that's one thing, but do not pay for backlink placements to the actual final site. Like there are only a couple of niches where it's unavoidable. For instance, gambling is one of those niches, right? Or particular B2B enterprise level software is also one of those niches where you're kind of forced to do it because there's just no other way. But otherwise, do it like that or start there at least, and then you will kind of see how you will progress. So this was off-page SEO. So quick recap. In off-page SEO, there's a lot of noise. Focus on backlinks. So off-page SEO is equal to backlinks. That's 90% of off-page SEO. On-page SEO. Now we will be talking about things that you should be doing on your own site in order to, again, improve your chances with Google. What it means, Google crawls, there's actually like a bot, an algorithm that goes on your site and then goes through all the pages and it tries to see if you kind of checked all the boxes, right? Is your content structured correctly? Does it load quick enough? Are there links which are broken? Are there internal links? Are there images and things like that? And we'll discuss it on the next slide. But essentially, again, in on-page SEO, a lot of noise around it. There's technical SEO. Does your page load in 10 milliseconds? Is user interface great for users? Are they able to find all the things they want to find? Is your menu on the left, right, bottom? None of that really matters. Genuinely, none of that matters that much. Sure, those are things that can move the needle a little, right? So you should have your site nicely designed, but do not really stress it for the SEO purposes. Now I'm speaking purely about SEO. I'm not speaking about conversion, optimization of the landing pages, purely SEO angle. It doesn't really matter if your author bio is on the top, left, right, if user can see it, if the viewing angle of your text is like in the middle or slightly across the screen. Do not stress the small things that much. On-page SEO, there are essentially two things that matter the most, and that's content, and particularly its structure, and internal linking, right? Internal linking, I will kind of cover it right here because it's very similar to backlinking, from outside posts that we discussed on the previous slide, but it's slightly easier, and I see a lot of sites kind of neglecting it. Essentially, when you already have an established page, you will know that there are a couple of pages that are like top, mid, bottom of the funnel, whatever, but you will know that these like 2 pages are the ones that are converting the most, right? The search intent of the people who are searching for a particular keyword, they land on your page and they buy your product, or they click on your lead magnet, or whatever your ultimate goal is. So you will notice that this is what works. So for you, the math would be simple. You're in the position number 5. If you would be able to get to position number 2 or number 1, it suddenly will double or triple the amount of incoming traffic on that page that converts the best. So how do you get it there? Well, you start linking internally. So you would pull other pages that have some authority, that have some other backlinks, and you would link to that main page, right? Again, on Ahrefs blog, there is a lot of content that you can read around it. The main idea is that your page should look like a set of content silos, right? So for instance, your main sales driver will be a page comparing like washing machines. So, the best page will be best washing machines. And under that page, you would have best washing machines under $500, best washing machines from Samsung, and they would be linking, to this main page. So it will create a kind of a little pyramid, right? Or like a silo, if you will, where on the top of the silo there is, main page, and under it are supporting pages. Same applies for your landing page, or which is like just domain.com. Obviously, a lot of links will be linking just to that. So make sure that your main page is actually linking to your content. Off topic, but just keep it in mind. If you are setting up your blog focusing on SEO strategy, it's not a good idea to have your blog on a subdomain. Have it in a subfolder. Do not have it on a subdomain, because if you have it like blog.domain.com, from perspective of Google, domain.com and blog.domain.com are 2 completely separate domains, right? So you don't want to rank 2 domains at once. You want to rank just one. So that's just one way. So internal linking, very important. There is a lot of potential on your site already that you can leverage, and you can kind of pull into particular pages and push them to the top, right? And after internal linking, content. Again, internal linking and content could be a webinars in itself, but to kind of just quickly going through it, Ahrefs has a fantastic post on it. If you Google post structure Ahrefs blog, you will get the post where this image is coming from. But essentially, what you need to kind of nail down in your content. First of all, it's search intent. You would be surprised, but under one keyword, there can be like 5 various search intents. So when you search for a particular keyword, for a particular search query, the results that are at the top will give you an indication of what the search intent is. So if somebody is, for example, their search query is, I don't know, mobile, like a gaming PC, right? Usually the top results would be 10 best gaming PCs. 9 best gaming PCs of 2024. This means that Google thinks that people who search for gaming PCs or best gaming PCs want to see a listicle. This is what they want to see. This is where Google sees the most engagement and the best results when they serve them these kind of search query answers. So this is what you should be aiming to do, or this is where you should be heading as well. So if you see that the top 5 results are listicles, do not suddenly make like a thought leadership post about it. You can try it, definitely, but the chances are that it will not rank. The way how Google or a couple of flags that Google uses when it indexes your content, maybe you notice it. When you publish something, usually it gets indexed quite quickly when you already have an established site. So you know that, for example, you publish it and like in 12 hours, you end somewhere on page 1 or 2, maybe depending on your domain authority, linking structure, and all the other things. And it will hang there for maybe a day or 2, and then Google will completely remove it and return it back roughly in a month, right? So it's kind of testing how people are engaging with your content and how it's testing it. So first of all, it's testing the CTR of your title, right? So it has to be kind of clickbaity, at least a little bit. It can't be boring. It has to stand out. That's why, for example, you see a lot of titles putting brackets around the year, right? Like best X for 2023, and there are brackets around it. That's just for it to help it stand out a little bit. Also, for instance, odd numbers have a higher CTRs than even numbers. So a lot of these listicles are like 9, 11, 13, and not many of them are like 10 or 6 or whatever. So first thing that Google will do is to see if your CTR your title is being clicked, how big the CTR is. So, okay, this is the first step. People are clicking. The second thing, even more important, is that Google is monitoring how much time did the user spend on your post. If the user came to your post and in 2 seconds, it's back to Google searching for completely same keyword, that's an indication to Google that your content does not meet the search query that people did not find when they were looking for, when they're searching for it. So your content is not as good as, the other pieces that are ranked there and where people are staying the most. So your goals here is first to get clicked, and the second, to make sure that people actually find the answer, that they do not leave your page immediately. That is why you can see that on a lot of content pieces, people are pulling key takeaways to the top, right? You click on it and you get your answer right at the top. Because in the past, we all did it. There was like a content piece and suddenly there was 400-word introduction about the history of my family and why this vacuum is so important to us, and we kind of have the soul bond relationship to it, and then there was a review somewhere in the middle. We're not anymore, right in the beginning. Dyson vacuum is the best because this is how you are trying to keep the person on the post, and then the post structure is actually what will make them stay. I will not talk about the actual content and use of keywords and content, because again, the actual post writing, it's a separate topic. Everybody has a very individual approach to it. Obviously, your content piece should reply to the search intent to its best ability, and it should do so as quickly as possible. And the idea is to hook the user at the start. So you have the title, you have a quick subtitle, which just kind of develops it and makes them interested in the topic. And then you continue with the, either table of content, which can serve as a kind of key takeaway. And also it's worth noting that table of content creates a hashtag after each of your headlines, because you have H1, H2, H3, H4, and so on, and those are headlines. H1 will be your title, H2 would be most of your headlines separating your content pieces, and H3s are like subtitles. So when you have table of content, which I would advise you to have, because first of all, it helps with navigation, but most importantly, for example, if you're using WordPress, there's a bunch of table of content plugins, and they would create a hashtag near each of your H2 headline. And those hashtags, or like those H2 headlines with those hashtags, will be separately indexable in Google. Again, you've probably seen it a couple of times. You search for something and suddenly you do not see the title of the post, but you rather see like a third H2 headline of the post. You click on it and you land directly on it. And Google even highlights in yellow the paragraphs that it kind of took in its search results, right? So this is what you're aiming for when you are doing table of content. So a rule of thumb, first of all, make it skimmable. 70% of people skim the post. Nobody is reading the whole thing, unfortunately. So even if we all kind of put our soul and hearts into the content piece, most of people will just, run it through with their eyes, and that's it. They will click away. So how do you make them stay? Well, first of all, you break the text. None of your paragraphs should be longer than 2, maximum 3 sentences. Otherwise, it looks like wall of text. Nobody will be reading it. Short and sweet, very like separated. So it kind of can catch the eye when person is just, scrolling with their wheel on their mouse, getting through the post. So that's number 1. Number 2, every section which is longer than 300 words should be a separate section in terms that it should have its own H2 or H3. Don't have H2 and then have like 900 words, 600 words paragraphs. Again, nobody will be reading it. They will just skip it. Images, very important. Even if it would be a meme, a funny image, an AI generated image, it doesn't matter. It doesn't always have to be like an image, a statistics or infographic that will add value to your post. It can be just something that adds a little bit of something, a little bit of empathy, a little bit of humor. But most importantly, it makes the person read a little bit more under it, right? Tables. Have a table. Have anything in it, just have it, even if it will be just a recap of what you already written, put it into columns, have it, put it into shorter terms, into columns, have it there. Obviously, bullet points and, sorry, and numbered lists. Again, something that's highly skimmable, catches the eye, and makes the person stay on your post, right? To make the person click on another post by reading your first post, it's extremely difficult, and most people will still not do it, right? So you will see that if you're using Google Analytics, you will see that the fall off from their landing page to the second page is quite high. But make sure that it makes them stay. So to recap, strong title, strong subtitle, intro that is short but has a hook in it. It's interesting. It opens up the topic a little bit, but kind of forces the user to read on a little bit more. Images, tables, bullet points, break text into smaller chunks, break big parts of text into headlines, and that's pretty much it when it comes to content. The idea is to decrease the bounce rate, increase the time on site, and obviously have a CTA, have a newsletter sign up near it, whatever your ultimate business goal is. Make sure that your post kind of goes towards that goal. Because to an extent, the numbers, the post, the organic traffic, it's a vanity metric. If you are selling a product, you are chasing sales. If your main profit driver is coming from like Mediavine or Ezoic, you are chasing RPMs. Higher RPMs are again acquired by people staying at your page for a longer time. The longer they stay, the more ads Mediavine can show them. So for instance, if you have Mediavine and you have video ads, right, you may notice that some pages have double the RPMs of some other RPMs is revenue per 1,000 visitors, revenue per mil. Suddenly, one of your pages has like double the RPM of your other page. So this is usually caused because they are staying for 30 seconds, and in 30 seconds, Mediavine is able to show them 2 ads. It's able to show them 3 ads. So obviously, you are getting higher revenue for that page. Otherwise, all the details, if kind of you would like to get more in depth of how to structure the content, Ahrefs blog, go there. When you will go through this, you will know 90% of everything there is to SEO, to be honest. One of the things when you are doing your posts, obviously, is the outlines and overall the use of AI, which is like some people are not using it because they think it's like damaging to their content. Some people are overusing it. In my eyes, there is no way around it. If you're not using it, your competitor is using it. There is somebody else using it, testing 5 sites and publishing 50 posts every day on each of those sites. I'm not saying that you should be doing that, but definitely when, for example, you are writing a piece of content, you would be surprised that even if you know the topic, just creating an outline with like a ghostwriter will help you significantly. It will stumble upon ideas that you may not have before, because what it does is that it pulls all the best content that there is, right? Because how the AIs are trained, and it's trying to provide you with all the angles that people were reading about, were asking about, and kind of gives a result. So, for example, when I'm creating a post for us, I create an outline of my own, but at the same time, I also create an outline from Ghostwriter. I compile it together. I pick the best ideas from Ghostwriter, or pull it into kind of the things that I wrote. And this is how I move forward with it. Again, when I'm looking for some like product descriptions or stuff like that, there is no reason for me to write 300 words about something that was described 20 times before, right? If I would be describing SEO, Why would I write it again if I can just drop it into Ghostwriter and it can generate a pretty good couple of paragraphs, which I will review, slightly edit to make them sound like me, and it's good to go. Obviously, in each post, there should be a particular angle that's your own, right? That your kind of personal view to give it a little bit of a personality, a little bit of your own branding. But 30% of the content, 40% of the content are the things that we've written before again, and again, essentially in one form or another. So, why not make your life a little bit easier? As we spoke in the beginning, the name of the game for this year, next year, whatever, is diversification, right? If you invested any particular time into Google, you know that to get any results, usually it takes at least 3 months before you get at least the slightest indication of if Google likes your content, doesn't like your content, and so on. There are other channels that you can leverage, and if you are kind of on Twitter or whatever, you already probably seen a couple of people talking about it. First of all, Pinterest. Pinterest is one of those channels when you can see results instantly to an extent. It's not easy to get them because the competition is high, the traffic is great, right? Like 70% is tier 1 US traffic. So a lot of people really want to get some of that Pinterest traffic on their site. But Pinterest, in comparison to Google, is one of those things when you write a post, right? And you kind of wait for Google to index it and do its thing, and you recycle the post into social posts to get some of those like social signals. Why not? But most importantly, to this post, you would create 5 pins and you would schedule those pins. And in about a week, you would know that out of those like 30, 40 pins that you posted, these 3 performed the best. So you tailor all your other pins as those 3. If you will dig into Pinterest strategies, there will be a lot of sources saying we are posting 100 times or pinning 100 times per day on like 5 profiles and doing 500 pins per day or whatever. Sure, that's great, but definitely start slow. In my experience, if you would open a Pinterest account today, if you would publish 50 pins per day, you would probably get shadow banned in the first step. And in the next step, you would get permabanned, and Pinterest bans on domain level. So kind of be careful with that. But start slow, warm up the account, start posting 3, 5, 10, 15 pins per day, see what's working. It's better to have less with driving engagements than to post 100 when there's 0 clicks on each of them, and just grow from there. One of the things that might be interesting to those of you who are driving most of their profits from ad revenue, Pinterest usually has roughly twice as high RPM as Google. So if Google will give you $10, or like if Mediavine will be paying you $10 for Google traffic, Pinterest traffic will be valued at $20 to $30 because of the concentration into the tier 1, because of the demographics that Pinterest has. So definitely a great resource. Goes without saying that if you are in the lifestyle niche, skincare, makeup, fashion, but insurance niches, make money online niches, everything works on Pinterest. You just need to find the angle and kind of have your expectations right. Facebook, a strategy that worked 10 years ago kind of works again. Long story short, you'll create a fan page. You will buy very cheap ads, which will be follower based. So you want just to grow your followers. Usually, if you play your cards right and you do good ads, you will be paying somewhere between 3 cents to 5 cents per follower, right? You will build it to a couple of thousand followers. In the meantime, you will start posting 3 to 5 times per day. But with Facebook, and you will be driving traffic from Facebook on your site. With Facebook, it's a little bit more tricky because there are just some niches which are quite difficult, and you have to be extremely clickbaity on Facebook to get any solid results, consistent results from that. So what you would do is, for instance, right, 9 best puppy breeds, or like this cat save its owner. This is our things that worked on Facebook. On the other hand, if I would be posting 5 best ways to increase your traffic, this is not really something that can go viral on Facebook. Again, dig deeper on that, but that's definitely one of the channels that you should be focusing on. Yeah. And last but not least, if you are not doing it, you should start. This was said many times before. The return on investment on email is incomparable to anything else. Build your email list. You can leverage it to sell your own product. You can sell it to other email lists anywhere between $1 to $5 per subscriber. So the monetization options on your email list are not endless. There are a couple of them, but they work, and they work for the last 20 years. So start doing emails, start doing newsletters, capture the incoming traffic, right? You have Google incoming traffic, have a pop-up with the downloadable, with something, make the users leave their mail and get their checklist or whatever, an interview, a case study that you have, something of value, make them sign to your newsletter, start growing it, right? On average, you will be getting $1 return per every subscriber, roughly, depending again on many factors, but roughly this is where it's at. So 1,000 follower or 1,000 subscribers, you are looking at roughly $1,000 per month, right? And from that it goes on. But most importantly, if Google will shut you down, Facebook will ban your pages, Pinterest will change their algorithm from something to something, your email list remains with you. And one of the ways how to increase, your email subscriptions, how to increase your newsletters is paid traffic. And this is where I kind of hand it forward to Kevin. So this is all for my part. I'm sorry I make it a little bit longer than expected. I will try to answer any questions after the call. And Kevin, it's all yours.
Thank you, Vlad. I'm going to keep this short. I know there have been a lot of questions for Vlad's portion, so we'll get through this real quick and start answering additional questions. But I wanted to just quickly add on to Vlad's entire conversation here by talking about ads, right? Because a big part of, Vlad's discussion here, right, is that multi-channel marketing is really important. And we wanted to focus today on SEO. And, Vlad showed some ways that we can help with that in the app. If you're watching Susan in the chat here, she just showed a really great prompt you can use yourself with Tailwind's AI features, right, to help you build those tables out for your blog. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is a new feature that we've only introduced to a limited number of folks, right? And that's Tailwind Ads. We've been working on it for a number of months. A limited number of people have received access to it, but we're starting to talk about it a little bit more. And so if Tailwind Ads is something that you're interested in, you can contact me to get access to that. I can enable it for your account. We can hop on a call, chat about your ad strategy if you'd like as well. I'm happy to do whatever I can. And also, if you think of something later that you'd love to ask Vlad, something SEO related, just shoot it over to me and I'll get Vlad looped in and we can help out. But anyway, let me jump in. Let me tell you about ads. We actually just started, kind of like piloting it last summer. And I want to tell you about one of our early customers. Their name was Vermilion Jewelry. There's a jewelry store, right? They before had made and sold things locally, ended up shifting online a little after the pandemic, right? And then, coming into that, she kind of knew her core audience, right? But she was really new to selling online. And so whenever we first started talking with her, she had about 10 people per day visiting her site, 100 followers on Instagram, 2,000 viewers on Pinterest, just to give you a sense of, kind of where she was at in her business's journey. And so she wanted to try Tailwind Ads, right? She wanted to see if, like, hey, much like how we were, Vlad was discussing, SEO can get you traffic, and for e-commerce, traffic is what, right, can lead to profit, lead to growth, right? And so we tried ads with her for her business. And getting started is super easy. I want to show you what that looks like a little bit. You just enter your website, right? We've tried to make Tailwind Ads and getting started with Tailwind Ads as easy as possible. So if you've ever used Facebook Ads Manager, you know how insanely difficult it is to actually get going with ads. So you get started. You put your URL in, we analyze your website, right? And we use the same technology we have in Ghostwriter plus some other stuff that we built specific to ads. You kind of set your budget and we just pull in your products from your website and use AI to generate ads for you here. So for Vermilion Jewelry here, her product shots, right? You can tell just by looking at them, make great ads. That's not the case for every e-commerce store. And if and Tailwind Ads is very flexible, right? So you can swap out different images, just like if you've used Ghostwriter to write other things, right? You can edit that content. You don't have to roll with it. But the point is that we make it super easy to build a campaign that's fully customized for e-commerce. Like, we're not building Tailwind Ads for bloggers or other business types right now. It's really narrowly focused on e-commerce. And then we get you started. We have a campaign built out and optimized for e-commerce. We have these ads already created. You can tweak, you can adjust the assets if you'd like. And, Vermilion Jewelry here started out just spending, focused on traffic ads, right? Saw around an 8x, 700% increase in traffic over a couple of months, started learning from that traffic and saw that, hey, certain products were getting a lot of engagement, right? Ended up seeing add to cart, saw some sales coming in, and decided to, okay, go from creating traffic ads, like, let me actually create some purchase conversion ads with my Meta Pixel. And that's when things really, really started to take off for her, right? Because she found out about, this ad here, right? She found that this ad was, her most optimal ad, right? This ad was absolutely killing it when she was on a lower budget. Just purchasing traffic, right? Not asking Facebook to optimize for conversions, which is what we switched to. So this is kind of our keystone product that she was able to identify. So we started ramping that up, right? We started ramping that budget up. But how did Tailwind Ads kind of figure out that this is her keystone product? And what does that actually mean if Tailwind Ads figures that out? So I want to tell you about some of the optimizations we're doing, what sets it apart. And it's this kind of daily sort of budget optimization, right? So if we see an ad that's doing, really, really well, we're going to shift more of your monthly budget towards that product and away from a product that maybe isn't doing as well. ROAS here, I should say, that's return on ad spend. So if you're seeing a high return on ad spend for one product, we're gonna spend a lot more on that product. Excuse me, I hit a key on my keyboard that threw some stuff out of whack here. Pardon me, getting back to my tab. All right. And so for Vermilion Jewelry, these optimizations, right, these that we're making on her end and her switch to purchase conversions over the time, right? She started out making some revenue, right? She did have sales before she started using Tailwind Ads, but by the end of the year, as she continued to experiment, try different products, try different ads, she ended up seeing this 4x growth in sales over about a 6-month period, right? And I think one thing to keep in mind with ads is, like, I'm leaving a lot of information out here, right? She did test some different products. She did test some different ads. We did see that certain types of, copy or imagery would perform better, right? But we figured this out over the course of, a couple of months, right? And things got more efficient, more effective. And she was able to get to a point where, like, hey, now I'm actually able to start really, really investing in my business in all new ways because of this kind of revenue growth, right? So when thinking, just taking a step back, right? We had 3 major goals with Tailwind Ads, which is making, just executing your paid social strategy as straightforward as your organic social strategy, right? It's like when you schedule a pin to Pinterest, right? We want that to be just as easy when you go into Tailwind Ads, right? And decide to create an ad. We wanted to make it simple for you to see what's working and just kind of make those improvements automatic and just reduce the amount of time and risk associated with paid ads, right? When I say risk, it's like, we let you come in, just start spending at $2 a day, right? Just on traffic ads if you like. And that's a great way to grow engagement with your social account, right? And grow your brand awareness, and get more newsletter signups. You'll also get add to carts and sales from that as well. And as you see traction and as you learn about what people are responding to, you can optimize your ads, right? You can create new types of creative based on what you learn, and we can ramp that up and switch to purchase conversions over time. So, essentially what we are trying to do when creating Tailwind ads is not create this absolute cluster here that you see in Facebook ads, right? It's a lot to take in. It's a lot of data. That's because Facebook ads is not, it's, I don't know, 15 years old, maybe something like that. And they're really catering to people who will spend $1 million in a day, right? If someone who's spending $1 million a day on Facebook asks for a feature, you can bet they're going to build them for that business, right? And so eventually over time, this gets insanely bloated, and it's just not what a small e-commerce business needs at a certain point. So that's what we're trying to do with Tailwind ads. Make it simple to get started, make it easy to get started, build it so that it's optimized for small business e-commerce, right? And go from there. So we do have this was a video here. I'll actually skip over this. This is, I'll skip through it real quick, but just kind of showing like, how this works. You drop your website in, we just kind of immediately pull in your products as you get started. You're gonna tell us a little bit about your business. There's a few steps through here. Tell us what makes your brand and product unique, right? Because the AI will like use that when developing your ad copy. And then I'll just skip ahead here a little bit. We don't need to watch us connect to Facebook. You'll set your budget. You'll tell us about what kind of audience you want to target, and we'll generate ads for your products, right? Then you can go in here, review these, edit these, and swap out the images as needed. So this is, again, a very quick overview of ads. I didn't want to take too much time, and I appreciate Vlad letting me come on here and chat about this briefly, because this was like an e-commerce centered topic, and our ads are very e-commerce centered. We will be releasing this to everybody at Tailwind later this year, but we're kind of at the point now in the product development where we're kind of generally inviting people, if you're interested, shout, raise your hand, shoot me an email down there in the bottom right corner. Happy to schedule a meeting, chat with you, and get ads turned on, right? So if there's anything I can do, right, just holler. I do want to say just real quick, Tailwind ads, Facebook, Instagram, and Google search right now. Pinterest coming soon, but we're continuing to grow and evolve the product here over time. So again, if you're interested in a 30-minute consult and a guided setup tour, anything like that, email me. Also get that enabled for you. But I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen, and I know there are a lot of questions to get to.
Thank you, everyone. Really appreciate it. You can see why Vlad is our SEO expert. He has tons of great information. I know that we are over on time, so what I'd like to do is we'll just do a speed round on our questions. So if you can stick around for a little bit, that would be great. If not, we will send the recording out, and you can catch this, catch up hopefully later. So we'll answer as many as we can in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, well,
The
I'll
first.
do my best. I actually, Susan, if you want, I can see them in chat, so I can go through
Okay,
them.
super.
Or do you
Great.
have them marked?
No, go ahead. Just go through.
Okay, good. Guys, I'll do my best to be mindful of your time. So, but feel free if you have any other questions that you haven't asked before, drop them in the chat, and we'll try to cover them. For those of you who have to go, there will be a recording, and you can watch it. So just quickly. Okay, good. What is a social signal? We answered those. So everything that kind of comes from social media, because it is said that Google is able to see if your post is being shared, liked, reshared. What it's definitely able to see is incoming traffic. It can see the reference kind of URL, so it knows that you're getting traffic from Facebook ads, you're getting traffic from Twitter ads, or sorry, ads like Facebook, Twitter. In the past, actually, there was actually a strategy where you would buy Facebook ads and drive those ads to your page to kind of make Google believe that you are getting more kind of traffic from Facebook. It still works for some very, very special cases, but like not a strategy that you can just apply left and right. So SB is asking, so in total, you would recommend to place a link for the main site instead of navigating to a specific subtopic I'm offering. So if I understood correctly, for the backlinks, you want to link to the site that you want to get to the top, right? In most cases, You would just have to decide if you will be trying to niche down, and you would have 5 best washing machines for white clothes under $500, right? And you would be trying to rank with that, taking into consideration that it has a much lower search volume, but the people who will find you are probably ready to buy, right? On the other hand, you have best washing machines, and this would have a much higher volume, but it will be also much more competitive, and not all of those people are ready to buy. Some of them might be just scooping around, or wanting to read the review and then go to like an actual shop and buy it. So the idea is that you have on your page, you have to decide that, okay, I will now build links towards these 3, 5 pages, whatever is your resource time, how much backlinks are you actually able to get. And on those pages, you will start building backlinks to. Quickly, just note in terms of anchors, there are essentially several types of anchors. And anchor are the words which I hyperlinked and are leading, that has the backlink, right? So you would have a paragraph, and in this paragraph, you would have, as Vlad wrote in his post, and Vlad wrote in his post would be highlighted, and it would be, for example, linking to my blog. So in this case, you have 3 types: branded, organic, and exact match, right? So if my site is called Vlad's Jewelry, branded keyword would be earrings from Vlad's Jewelry, Vlad's Jewelry rings, discounts from Vlad's Jewelry. This would be a branded keyword. Exact match would be the exact keywords that I'm trying to rank for. So if I'm trying to rank for best washing machines for white clothes, the exact keyword would be best washing machines for white clothes, and that would be the anchor of the backlink. And organic is usually something that just feels natural, right? It's just as was written on the blog, and the blog would be hyperlinked, for example, to my blog, right? So it doesn't have a brand. It's not an exact keyword match. It's organic. So how would a normal writer write it without, being kind of incentivized to actually have the backlink in there? You would want to have a mix of those, right? You would want to have a group. So roughly 1/3. 1/3 30% brand, like 33% branded, 33% exact, 33% organic, and mix them. Do not have them the same. One of the mistakes that I'm seeing when people are building backlinks, apart from building 20 backlinks in first week and then nothing, is having the same keyword in each of their backlinks. Don't do it, right? That's the easiest thing for Google to see, that it's kind of manipulated, right? That the keyword is the same. It just would not happen. So yeah, sorry, SB, long story short, pull the backlinks towards the page that you want to rank. Applies for external backlinks, applies for internal backlinks. Can we control, CJ Schneider is asking, can we control where a backlink will be inserted somewhere? No. In most cases, no, but this is not actually something you should be worrying about, because people will not just start linking to your page without any reason. Or there are kind of black hat SEO strategies. If you want to tank your competitor, you would start creating bad backlinks, let's put it that way. I will not dig deep into that, but there is a way how you can do it, and there is a way how you can, in Google Search Console, disavow the backlinks that you do not want to have. Yeah. For instance, you will notice that suddenly like a bad page, a bad domain is linking to your site, and it has a bad keyword that you do not want to be associated with. Usually Google is fine with being, usually do not worry about it that much. Google will be able to filter it out. And if it's like 1 domain out of 100 domains, doesn't matter, right? If somebody is doing like a focused backlink attack on you, that's another thing. But this is not something that we need to worry about now. So in most cases, you cannot. There is even a strategy that you would search for websites where your name, your blog, your product was mentioned, and it was not linked to you. And you would email them and you would say, hi, you wrote about, me, my site, whatever, but you haven't linked to me, may I ask you to actually link to one of my posts? Usually the conversion there is like 5%. Again, 15% if you're like a big brand. So yeah, it depends. Again, not strategies that's very like replicable. And again, if you are already famous enough, your brand is so well known that it's being just discussed, you're probably past the point of building backlinks. Yeah, just to give you an overall idea, Canva had an outreach team of roughly 50 people, and they contacted roughly 1 million sites for backlinks over like 5-year span or 3-year span. So everybody's doing backlink building. Okay, moving on. Do we want follow
Let's
or
make
no
this
follow?
be our last one, and we'll have to save the others for another session.
Oh, sorry. We have okay. Yeah. So long story short, do we want we'll get to the questions. Do we want follow or no follow? You want them follow, but the follow tag is not written in the hyperlink. So by default, all the links are do follow. Only if there is a tag that is saying no follow, it means that the link is no follow, right? By default, all the links are do follow. So definitely you want them do follow, or like you just want the link without any tags, without no follow tags, without sponsored tag, without anything, just the anchor and the link, and that's it. And there can be like that it opens in the new window tag or something like that, but that's pretty much it. Okay, so Susan, we have to cut it.
We have to cut it. Everyone, thank
Yeah.
you so
If I
very
may,
much.
sorry, if I may just
Mhm.
quickly suggest, and Susan,
Sure.
I assume that we have the emails of all the participants.
Yes.
Yeah. What if we would answer all the questions in the emails?
I like that. Okay,
Yeah.
we will do
Okay.
that.
So
And
guys, check your emails. All the questions we will take them from the chat, and I will try to answer them at least to some extent, because I see that they're piling up, but I don't see if they're related to SEO or to Kevin's speech. So yeah, check your emails by the end of the next week, or
yeah, that
earlier.
sounds good.
We'll try to deliver.
That sounds great. Vlad, thank you so very much. You know a ton. Scott just said this should be 2 hours in the future. And I always learn from you about SEO. So thank you for doing this. I'm grabbing the questions from chat. We will work on an email answering all of those. And if there's anything urgent that you want help with, Kevin has offered his email address, kevin@tailwindapp.com, to get help with SEO. He'll get with Vlad and get you an answer. And you can also email kevin@tailwindapp.com in order to get help with ads. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Thanks, Vlad. Thanks, Kevin.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.
Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.